Nosferatu, a vampire who likes to
very nasty, man.
I'm gonna scoot over more so you
He's
can
literally
make
so
sure you
decrepit.
stay in frame.
Okay. Yes, got you.
Because one thing about you, you love to just jump out of frame.
I do. I'm like,
Like,
it's so enticing to just be out of frame, but hey, we're here.
Sometimes you have to be in frame. Okay, gorge. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Pilar, and welcome back to PALTalks. Oh, wait, you know the tone.
Yes.
Period. I'm here with
Wynton Jones.
Period. And what is that you do, Wynton Jones?
I am a creative. No, I'm joking. I am an actor, director, writer as well on the side a bit. And I just am interested in doing all creative things media-wise.
When was the moment that you knew you were going to be a star?
It's a hard question. I would say 5 years old, in kindergarten. I was the son in the kindergarten play The Day the Sun Moved Away. And ever since then, people were like, hey, you are super charismatic. You should probably pursue this. And I feel like I had like a professional desire to be something before most people like wanted to be anything, because I was so young and just felt like that was something I should do. And I just tried to stick to it and have been continuing to stick to that since then. So it's been a minute now, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's insane that you were like a literal star.
Yeah.
Like you're like the biggest star in our solar system. Like,
exactly.
That's like, wow. Okay,
Exactly.
there was the good omen was there from a very young age.
It was. And then also I feel like the storyline was like how dog shit everything went when I left. So it was like the star power it just had to be there. Like I couldn't choose another way for myself.
What is the thing that honestly keeps you going and keeps you creatively fueled? Because I know, like, you know, a lot of people will do something like that. They will be the sun.
Yeah.
But then they'll like lose that, or like it'll fall to the wayside. But how do you keep that up in your personal?
I'd say that I feel like it's all about your belief system of yourself, and then also what you feel like your purpose is. Like I said, being so young and like understanding myself to have the purpose of entertaining or just like creating or like connecting with people through art. Like that's always been like the through line for me. So that looks a little different. It's always going to be something that I fight for. And then developing a narrative is like the main thing that I went to school for. So now my skills are built completely around like storytelling. So I'm going to do that in some capacity, no matter what I end up getting into.
And what are the stories you most like to tell?
That's a good question. I like to tell unique stories, like definitely stories that are memorable and are adventurous. In the past, I've told stories about people who otherwise wouldn't get their story told. And I feel like there's a lot of honor in that, and also a lot of interesting things, because history will repeat itself if you don't inform yourself of like these things that have been happening that you heard nothing about. It's really cool to develop a narrative, finding a way to send a message to an audience and like touch somebody through what you're saying. And then also having some colorful ins and outs has been like the thing that I really have been focused on.
Do you feel like you kind of imagine that person that you want a particular story to reach, or do you just kind of whatever you feel like making, you make?
These are good questions. I would say I was really determined to make stories that were for Black people as well as about Black people, because it's easy to try to cater to the man, you know, but like I want to make
it gets
things
produced and done.
Exactly. I think that especially people of color have to make things that they know can be palatable to like the mainstream. Like your stuff will only get so far if it's not understandable or digestible for like some rando white girl who like knows nothing about like what you do or where you're from. So I've always wanted my work to be tailored to someone who looks like me, but also I think that there is also power in things being understandable across ideologies and identities. I sound like Rihanna when she's like any, you know, genders and races or whatever. Story has always been a great way for people to like understand and gain empathy for like others. So I think that it should be important for any creative to make things that can bridge that gap.
And can you tell us about some of the projects that you've created that you're most proud of?
Okay, so for one, Pilar was a part of this project. You know, we got to do the big shout out to ABC's Black College Show. It was the first project that I directed. Black College Show was an amazing experience. It was done with friends. We all just banded together and did it. It snowballed into something so much bigger than I think anybody who was a part of it originally thought that it was going to be.
It was like the cute, you screen it at school.
Yes, we screened it. We were interviewed about it.
But then the like, oh my gosh, we did
interview about it. But we also, we got interviewed by multiple people. I think that it was like
the article too.
Yeah, the article. People were really proud of us, even if they didn't know us. I would say another thing I was super proud of is this photo shoot that I did that was like styled by me, but also conceptually built from like a story that I had wanted to tell for a minute. And like, I think that the story will be able to grow into different mediums because that experience really taught me that like when you have a concept, you don't start with, you can, it's up to you, but like you can start with saying, I want to make a movie, I want to make a short film, I want to do a short story. Or you can say, this is a story that I want to tell, and what shape can this fit into, and like is it like something that can take on different forms. And I did that in 2022, and it was like loosely based on Blackness being associated with death and how Black people live kind of as zombies, so to speak, because of the death that we carry, but why that can also be our edge because of the heaviness and the wisdom that comes from tragedy.
Oh wow. How was taking that on emotionally? Guessing that you like had to sit with it, grapple with it. You know,
it was a lot. The death is heavy. It was honestly a transformative experience because like while I was creating that project, I also was going through like personal things. The art was helping inform how I was like processing my own things and my own experiences, and it really showed me the benefits of being a creative and like having a dialogue with yourself, with your creative self specifically, and like learning from your work, having a chicken or the egg situation where like I created this, but this is also like kind of creating me in a way because like it is giving you the necessary tools to like show up better for yourself and for others. It was great. It was crazy though. And like, I think that I've always had this thing with a good actor, because I'm an actor first, a good actor. There's this sentiment that is not necessarily right or wrong. I think it just exists, that an actor dives into their work. So like Joaquin Phoenix, and like how he broke his leg kicking the trash in The Joker. And like how people lose themselves in their art, actors especially, because of the like transforming you have to do internally in order to like represent yourself, like really become somebody else. And I think that you can do that in a safe manner. Like it's important to do it safely. It's important to make sure that your mental health and like your sanity is intact from start to finish. But on the opposite end, there is something really exciting about fully immersing yourself in your work and like being open enough to like let your work change you.
And what does your internal voice sound like? Because for some reason, I don't know why, but I feel like yours sounds like not quite like Elmo, but it like has the kind of like energy that Elmo has. Okay. Like, does that make sense?
I love Elmo. Expound.
Girl.
Elmo is that
like, oh, I feel like it's sassy Elmo. Like for me, your internal voice would sound something like, also like, again, I should not be talking about your internal voice.
No, I'm very curious here.
Don't you think that it would be like, Rocco, Rocco, balsamic vinegar? Balsamic vinegar? Yeah.
I mean, that voice has echoed in my head a bit. I would say that Elmo maybe talks a little slow for my voice, but definitely has the same vibe. I think that like it's an ever flowing, like it's not so much a faucet because it's not like consistent like that, but like at any given moment, like my mind will throw up something in my head, and like I have to kind of decipher through the vomit and find some little nuggets of something really fun. I mean, like I said, putting that together and finding that shape and putting it into something else and making like, okay, this is going to be a scene that I write, or like this is going to be another thing that I like try to put on top of an idea. Like, because with directing, it is your vision, but it is informed by whatever content you're giving to the project, or what the project is giving to you, kind of like balances. It's like, I'm going to do a little bit of this and you're going to do a little bit of that, or I start with this much and I'll make it this, or I start with this much, I might make it that. And that's the beauty of being a multi-hyphenate. You get to try all of those things.
And something that you've mentioned a lot is just, again, what you learn and take away and what's given to you from a project. But how has Wynton found Wynton? outside of creating?
Ooh.
Curveball.
How is Wynton from Wynton outside of creating? I think creating is when you have the pen in your hand, but you learn so much from seeing other people do it, and you learn so much from other art. And I would say that I'm somebody who, like, fashion, for example, is creative in a way, but it is a lot of what you're given. If you're styling, you're not making those clothes. There are people who design clothes as well. And I've tried to design things here and there. But like for the most time, I wear things that other people have made. I think that finding yourself in other pieces of art can be such a like homecoming, like coming back to yourself when you see things that remind you of your past or remind you of maybe feelings about yourself that you haven't interrogated or like you haven't revisited in so long. I think that I find myself in other people's work just as much as mine, but like to take a step back from the creativity, I think that like coming back to your inner child, not to be cliche, has always been great. That really is who you are, being able to commune with people who you've known for years and they've seen you when you were in a different form, you were at a different Pokemon level or whatever.
Oh my gosh, yeah, wait.
Still you.
Pre-locks.
Pre-locks. Oh my god.
Maybe
you can put a picture of my intro. Now I have all of these. Yes, but like I'm still me. But it's easy to forget that when you're so invested in your now. So I find myself through things and also through people who know me better than I know myself.
Period. And what's a favorite inner child Wynton memory that you have?
There are so many because I feel like I was such a goofball when I was a kid.
Also, side note, favorite Wynton story, or not even favorite Wynton story, but just like a thing that I think is just so iconic, the baby shoe.
The baby shoe.
The baby shoe.
Oh, I used to love that baby shoe. I think I still have it, actually.
We were walking on Melrose one day, found like a random shoe store, went inside, Wynton saw baby shoes, was obsessed, and then all of a sudden later on that day, Wynton just like, ooh, baby shoe. We're like,
I got that baby shoe. I was like, this is for me. And that's the thing, I'm like, I think I'm really good at finding things, like odd objects that...
You do have a lot of knickknacks.
That like, I'm a knickknacker really, really bad. Is that having objects that feel like they have my energy or like they're connected or tethered to me somehow. When I was in middle school, I got a Snapchat. That was the first mistake. No, I'm joking. It was fun. But within the first few days of Snapchat, I feel like I didn't understand social media correctly. And like, I was like, you know what if I just rant? Like, what if I just get on here and just talk my shit? And I got like a lot of people who I did not know at my high school to follow my Snapchat, and I would just rant. I would just talk. I talked
so you're
about
like vlogging?
I was vlogging before it was a thing.
You were the chick.
I was vlogging. I mean, it was less about like, this is what I'm doing today, and more about like, hey, I have something to say. And like, I'm gonna just throw it out there, and people were listening.
Let me talk my shit.
I was like, let me talk my shit. I was like, you know what? Why does Adam and Eve have belly buttons? Why are they depicted with belly buttons? Also, why doesn't anybody talk about the fact that like their kids had kids together? And that shouldn't be okay.
But did you ever find the answers?
You know, I didn't. And that's a different conversation. But, you know, I feel like there was a lot that was just kind of painted over and was just like, this is it. And like, when you ask these types of questions, it's like, girl, stop asking. That was the response that I got from, as my pastor.
From your viewers?
From everybody else. They were just like, wow, either like, damn, you're right, I didn't think about that, or stop asking. Nobody had an answer. Nobody had a solution. So
ooh,
I had to just move accordingly.
Oh my gosh.
I had to just move accordingly.
How is it like living, accepting that you're not going to get the answers to some things?
Isn't that the question that, well, let me say, not for everybody, but for me, that is the question I've been trying to answer. And I will always try to answer. And I think the beauty is that you don't get there. Like, literally the question is, like, why can't I get answers? Like, is the answer in the room with us now?
Oh, I don't hear anything. I just hear turtle.
The best thing you can do is, what's that Sex and the City?
Oh, the best thing you can do is just read and reboot. There must have been an angel from my side. The Sade remix in there.
Yes, no, literally. It's like, all you can do, literally, is breathe and reboot. Like, sometimes you're not going to get that answer. Sometimes you're not going to get that closure. Sometimes you're not going to know what you're doing. Most times, at least in this period, you're not going to know what you're doing. But it is important that you stay sane, you stay happy, you stay kind.
Be nice to one another.
Exactly. You just help yourself.
Also, since it's 2025 now, how exciting. Oh my God, we love that.
Right? Doesn't feel
I want you to right now, because I love to do little things with my guests that's centered around what they do. I want you to make a movie about a New Year's Eve to New Year's. Like, make that little, like, create that world for me.
A New Year's movie.
A New Year's movie.
New Year's movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be really cute if there's a girl. She lives in New York City. She has blue hair. There we go. And she has to travel from Bushwick to Harlem before the clock strikes 12, and she is locked out of a party that has the guy that she likes in it, right? And she is going with her best friend, and then maybe throughout the traveling of getting on and off the train, they got on the wrong train, they're somewhere different, she realized that she never actually liked this guy.
Whoa.
She realizes that what she's doing with her life is not what she wants, and she realizes that when the clock strikes 12, a new girl will emerge for the new year. And she, spoiler, maybe ends up not making it to the party and deciding to turn around and go somewhere else.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, because sometimes it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
It's about the journey, and I think that is so important. I feel like a lot of things that I try to write always is about like this call to action where like somebody's going through their own like version of the Odyssey, and then like halfway through they're like, you know what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? And even if they do accomplish it, they come in like with new information.
Yeah.
They're informed. Because I think that we want so bad. And so we just want, like you say, you want this, you want that, you want this, you want that. But do you actually want that? Like, that's been something for me, like, I've wanted things so bad. And when I get them, I'm like,
oh, was that worth it?
Was it worth it? Or did I just want that just because I wanted to want it? Am I making sense?
No, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like why did I even want that? Like,
you
know?
And I feel like that's been, at least for me, like, such a scary thing about adulthood is, like, and like having dreams just in general.
Yeah.
Because you will really just have this dream and be like, oh my gosh, I want it.
Mm-hmm.
But then like, in the movies and stuff, it's like people become so unsatisfied once they like achieve the thing that they want. And it's like you've wanted something for so long that if you're unsatisfied with it, like that is an insane thought to me. Because I'm personally gonna be so grateful when I have my late night talk show and I'm just like, again, like one of the biggest stars ever, like Beyonce. I'm gonna have that interview with you.
Absolutely. Speak it now.
Is it like a mindset thing that you just have to make sure that you always stay like grounded in your work? Like, would that be the thing that keeps you not unsatisfied? Because again, like, or is it just like do you just stop at one point?
I will say, for one, it's a balance / there's no right or wrong. I always say that. But I think that being locked in to your intuition and what you know that you want in that moment. If I want yogurt right now, halfway through I decide I don't want the yogurt, I want ice cream instead, just make sure that you're still going somewhere. You're still trying to go get something. You know that you want to be satiated. Still just keep on being authentic to yourself. But on the other side of that, there's a thing about discipline. And the thing about successful people having discipline and people who are unsuccessful usually don't. And like when it comes to being a creative, like it gets to be less and less about your talent and your raw, unfiltered essence that people seem to love, and it gets to be more and more about, are you consistent? Are you on time? Are you waking up every day? Are you keeping yourself healthy? Are you just things that require discipline? And the thing that people tell you about discipline all the time is it's not about if you want to do it, it's about having that promise to yourself to do it if you want to or not. And if you're looking for like developing your discipline, you should find little things that you can be disciplined in where you can like prove to yourself that you know how to finish things. So like for me, like I like to go running, and like I'll run 2 or 3 times a week with my friend JD, shout out JD. And like sometimes I don't be wanting to go, but I will go. And sometimes I do want to go and I'll go, but it's important that either way I still go.
Oh. And that is the lesson. That is the
lesson.
lesson. That is the lesson. That is the lesson.
That's a lesson.
That's a lesson.
But also just being like, you know what? I've been running for this long. Like, I'm actually going to stop. And it's not about not having discipline. It's about me locking into my intuition and saying, I don't want to do that anymore. I genuinely don't. I've already proven to myself that I can do it. Don't want to do it. So just flippity-floppiting.
Period.
Yeah.
And that's PALTalks.
Oh, shout out to Pilar for this. This was amazing.
Oh my gosh. You're amazing.
You're amazing. No, you're amazing.
No, you're amazing.
You're amazing.
And you're also amazing for watching this. Thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe.